Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Semi-Pro. I am Dalton Barrett, and in the studio with me, I've got my good friends Daniel Savage and Josh Clements, and today, we're talking about Yogi Bear. And this time, I muted both of you on Discord so that you could not possibly speak over the intro.
We had plans
not for
to
lack
speak
of
over,
trying, though.
we had plans to speak over the intro too.
Yeah.
I wonder what you guys said. I couldn't hear you.
You'll never,
Surely it was nothing about Yogi Bear 2.
surely it's not "Hey boo boo." Have you heard Yogi Bear too?
Hey,
Yeah, I was hoping I'd be the first one to say it.
But instead it
Hey,
was Josh.
boo-boo.
So,
You got the Yogi Bear 2 name.
a little bit of clarification. We're in the middle of our real sweep. Last week we watched Stuart Little. This week we're watching Yogi Bear, or have already watched Yogi Bear. And
Next week we got the Garfield.
Next week we got Yogi Bear 2. Man.
Well, that's what I want to talk about that for just a minute, because I'm afraid if we don't talk about it now, the entire podcast will be just us talking about Yogi Bear 2.
I think that'll be the case regardless of.
Look, we already settled on the idea that it's going to be Yogi Bear 2. Okay?
So would you guys like to explain Yogi Bear 2 to the listening audience?
Well,
What are you going to explain this? First of all, what listening audience? No one's listening to us.
Also, it came about because at one point, I can't remember when the original discussion was, but we were just talking about like Yogi Bear. We were talking about James Marsden in specific.
Yeah,
and
we saw that picture of like it was like all the like real people riding in a car with CGI animals or creatures. It was like one was from Sonic with James Marsden, another one from Hop also with James
Right.
Marsden,
and then there was this one,
the Brendan Fraser Looney Tunes. Yeah, and there was this one, and then we started talking about Yogi Bear, and then Yogi Bear 2 somehow.
Well, we were like, we started talking about Yogi Bear 2 because we were 100% sure it was a movie.
Both me and Josh remembered there being, and both of us watching, a Yogi Bear 2 as a child. So we look it up and we find that
nothing.
No such movie exists. There isn't a Yogi Bear 2. I personally have a vivid memory of like a trailer for Yogi Bear 2 like a maybe it was like
I have a feeling it was like on the old like PS2 games, the way they had trailers before movies and stuff.
Right, yeah.
I think that's where I probably saw it first.
Well, you didn't see it.
Because it doesn't exist.
Google can't gaslight me on this one. I know what I saw.
Just like that, the Shaq Genie movie or whatever.
Well, that's I mean,
Shazam.
we essentially Mandela affected ourselves.
Correct.
Right, and so we believed not actually believed, but we've continued to talk about Yogi Bear 2 for months now as if it was an actual movie.
Well, the crazy thing about it is you guys talked about it, and then I, in a separate conversation, also talked about it.
Yeah. When we were coming up with this sweep for the podcast, we mentioned Yogi Bear, and then from that you said something about Yogi Bear 2.
And we had to,
that movie isn't real.
And we had to convince you that wasn't a real movie, and you were, like us, adamant that it was.
I mean, I don't know where I got it from. There are a couple scenes from this movie that I did genuinely think were Yogi Bear 2 scenes, specifically the
I remember the raft scene being in Yogi Bear 2.
Okay, see, I remembered the skiing scene from Yogi Bear 2, but turns out it's just from Yogi Bear, the first Yogi Bear.
Right.
So it never existed, and maybe you're in the same boat as us, dear listening audience, who doesn't exist, and you also too believed that there was a Yogi Bear 2, and I'm sorry to break it to you, there isn't. So
maybe one day we'll finally.
It's in development according to IMDb. IMDb never lies.
If you Google search Yogi Bear the movie, Yogi Bear 2 pops up. But it's not a real movie.
It apparently came out in 2017, according to that. Though.
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we watched Yogi Bear. A lot of it is just sort of setups for Yogi Bear 2 that they never really paid off.
Well, a lot of this movie is slapstick. That's a thing, which I guess I don't know what I expected from Yogi Bear the movie. I really don't know what I expected from this movie.
I'd say I got about what I expected from this movie.
Right.
Yeah,
it was
I
just,
don't know.
It
I
was an
think
extended episode of the TV show, pretty much.
Right.
I think Stuart Little really spoiled me last week.
Yeah.
And it's been a challenge to come back from that ever since, you know? Because Stuart Little was so good.
It really was just peak.
And this wasn't. I mean, this was bad, but it wasn't like.
It wasn't bad. I enjoyed it.
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't
Look,
like
maybe
offensively bad.
maybe Shyamalan ruined me, but I don't think it was that bad.
I'm still relieved to be watching anything that isn't made by M. Night.
That's true. Well, I mean, I guess we'll get back to it like in a few.
Oh no, we'll never get back to M. Night. Please no.
Well, no, in a few weeks when we're well into movies that aren't M. Night movies, maybe then we'll start to see things truly.
It's like how if you spend months underground and you come out to the sun, you're gonna get blinded immediately. You need to kind of like work your way up a little bit, and eventually we'll start seeing movies the way we're meant to, not spoiled by
trash,
not tainted by the M. Night Shyamalan effect.
The director of this movie directed such movies as let's see, what movies did he direct? Adventure or Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Okay, that's pretty good.
He directed Doctor Sleep, which is a great movie.
I've not seen that,
the Netflix series of Unfortunate Events.
He was assistant director on Doctor Sleep.
Oh, okay, gotcha. My bad. The only three movies.
You're lying to our loyal fan base.
Okay,
they trusted us about Yogi Bear too. We cannot lie to them.
So he directed both Journey to the Center of the Earth and Adventure at the Center of the Earth.
To the Center of the Earth.
He directed both of those movies and a few episodes of Xena Warrior Princess. So that's his.
He seems to have like gotten his kind of his career is mostly just visual effects, which explains why Yogi Bear and Boo Boo look probably as good as they do for 2010 low budget movies.
I mean, even like that is the one thing that I guess in this real sweep that has been consistently good has been the special effects on the creatures.
Right.
Even when compared to like Last Airbender, which also had some pretty good creature effects, but I like Yogi Bear and Boo Boo look great in this movie. The turtle doesn't look great, but we'll get to him as we're breaking down the plot.
Right.
But the bears look really good.
I'm gonna look up the budget for this movie because I'm curious how low budget it was. I assume it wasn't massively high budget because there's no real like Dan Aykroyd is the biggest star in the movie.
I mean, Justin Timberlake is pretty famous, not necessarily as an actor, but
no. At the time, when did this movie come out? 2010.
Yeah, I mean that was like the peak of his career.
That was in the same year he starred in Yogi Bear. He also starred in The Social Network.
Man,
who else could really bounce around from movie to movie like that? That's talent.
Yeah, so Yogi Bear is it's the story of a bear named Yogi and his best friend Boo Boo who live in this national park named Jellystone National Park with their friend / enemy Ranger Smith, and they really enjoy stealing picnic baskets, in the words of our good friend Yogi, when he's not saying racial slurs, which he does once in this movie. Look it up. You'll have a great time. So they're stealing these picnic baskets, and this lady comes along, and Ranger Smith has a big crush on her, and he decides to put the moves on her as sorts, but she wants to film a documentary about the park. So to film this documentary
about Yogi.
Correct. She wants to film a documentary about Yogi Bear because he's a rare talking bear, which is a thing that just exists in this universe. That's fine. I can get over that. Because the movie's about a talking bear. If it were about anything else, then I'd have some trouble getting over it. But I don't because it's about a talking bear.
We did just watch Stuart Little, which is about a talking mouse.
And they give even less.
Maybe in the same universe.
Could be.
Maybe all these real sweep movies are in the same universe.
The real cinematic universe.
Yeah, you think
I could see it.
Garfield 2 we'll have to see at the end of the sweep, but
right.
So to do that, to film this documentary about Yogi Bear, she puts a camera in Boo Boo's. I feel so goofy saying the term Boo Boo. She puts a camera in.
Hey, Boo Boo.
Hey, Boo Boo. She puts a camera in a Boo Boo's bow tie. And so that's kind of the first like 20 minutes of the movie. And they set up a lot of stuff in this time. There's another ranger at the park named Ranger Johnson. What's his name?
Ranger TJ Miller.
Ranger TJ Miller. Also Ranger lead singer from LMFAO.
Also Ranger, the guy who sent a pipe bomb.
The guy who tried to literally blow up a place. And will not be back in and will not be back in Deadpool 3.
Right.
Nah.
He's a ranger in this movie, and there's a little bit of competition, a little bit of angst there. Like they're kind of setting up him as this like
he wants to be head ranger.
He wants to be head ranger, but they don't necessarily set it up as angst. They sort of set it up as like incompetence, which I always hate. Like I was hoping throughout this movie that they were setting him up to be like the sidekick who by the end of the movie would learn that like he's got to learn his lesson to get to where he is, but instead they make him one of the villains of the movie until like the very end.
They give him a bit of a bar.
Yeah,
they give him a redemption.
Does come to realize that. No, but he comes to realize that like he's got to grind to get to
right. It's all about the hustle.
It's about the grind. It's about
drive.
It's about the Sigma mindset. But
exactly.
I mean, they try to. The movie has a weird amount of villains. Really.
It does.
It has 3 main antagonists, which is odd for a movie.
It has 2 main antagonists, and then
it has 1 main antagonist.
Yeah, but the two like sub antagonists are directly.
Yeah.
It like usually in a movie like it's Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine. Like Darth Vader, I guess is an antagonist, but he's sort of just doing his job for the main antagonist. But in this, the 2 sub-antagonists are just as bad. Like, they're not just doing their job. They're people who are actively, like, evil, which is kind of odd.
I don't think T.J. Miller was actively evil. He was just an idiot.
All right, well, the mayor's buddy friend was actively evil.
Yeah. The mayor's buddy friend was, He was
an evil little man.
Correct. He was an evil, but we'll get to him because we're cutting now from this scene in the park with Yogi Bear getting his camera, or Boo Boo getting his camera. My bad. Hey, Boo Boo. So we cut to the mayor's office, and the mayor is sort of set up, and he's a very, he spends a lot of money. He's not very cautious. He just kind of does whatever he wants. He's not necessarily a very careful person with how he spends his money, and the city is out of money. He's run out of money.
He also looks like Adam West.
And he's running for governor, so that's his that's his big thing. He's running for governor. The city's out of money. He's got to figure out how to make more money for the city so that he can win some votes and also not be bankrupt as the mayor, so that when he runs for governor, he can win. So his bright idea to do so is to sell the national park that Yogi Bear, Boo Boo, and the ranger work at. Well, I guess Yogi Bear and Boo Boo just live there, but that's his big idea. Like, that's how he's gonna save the day as the mayor. So he sets out to do that through selling the park, and he's got to figure out a way to justify him selling the park. So he goes to the park ranger and he says, "Hey, you haven't made money in many years because your park sucks. So we're just going to close it down and sell it." And now we're setting up the plot of the movie. Like, at first, I remember asking when we first started, I was like, "Hey, how are we gonna
actually have a plot?"
Right, how are we gonna plot out this movie?
Like half more.
All right, sorry about that, everybody. Had a little lag internet issue. Continue, guys.
Yeah, this movie has a plot. The plot
a good one. Well,
yeah, it's about what you would expect the plot of a Yogi Bear movie to be, outside of just him stealing picnic baskets.
Which admittedly is not good. Like, I wouldn't expect it to be
particularly
good. I was a little, like, not apprehensive, but I didn't know where they were going to go with the plot of Yogi Bear 2. Just because, well, I don't know where.
Because it doesn't exist.
Well, you know, it's hard to get a plot for Yogi Bear 2 when you use such a good one in this movie.
Well,
Right.
it's like, because the cartoon, every single episode is about him stealing picnic baskets. And so it's like, where are they going to go with the plot of this movie? And I think they did an okay enough job. Like, it's nothing spectacular, but I mean, it's a kids movie.
Right.
Not
I
everything can
personally-
be
It's
Stuart
the
Little.
standard kids movie formula. It's, you know,
Yeah, right. This movie
the
was
park
made.
is closing down. The big bad rich man is going to buy the park, and it's going to be bad now. We got to do something to make it good again.
Which is really a very
Right.
90s plot for this movie.
Yeah,
which makes me
absolutely.
wonder if it was written in the 90s and then just didn't get made.
Oh, got like stuck in development hell and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Right.
I can see it.
That seems like a natural place for a Yogi Bear
Plus,
movie.
I
to end up.
also 2010 seems like a weird time to make a Yogi Bear movie because I
Right.
don't think the character had particularly been as popular as he was 10 to 15 years prior.
Yeah, but this is the movie that grandparents take their grandkids to. That's what this movie was designed for.
Right.
It's like when inevitably we get another SpongeBob movie in like 5 years. You know, that's for parents to take their kids to, not for the kids. But this is even more than that. It's like grandparents taking their grandkids to see Yogi Bear. But it does feel very like a 90s film.
Personally, I prefer Yogi Bear 2 plot where he has to go back in time to stop the Soviets. You
What?
don't remember that part of Yogi Bear 2?
No, I can't say I do. I just remember him water skiing and
Yeah,
No,
he had to water ski to stop Stalin from
Hmm.
overtaking Trotsky.
weird.
And it was a wild plot. That was that was during the odd era of the 2010 kids movies.
You know,
And, and
don't
LMFAO
think I
was
remember
there.
Yeah, Red Foo was there. He was
Red
laying
Food, the big
bombs.
afro.
Yeah. But no, the movie did a solid enough job. It entertained you for. It didn't feel like an hour and a half, so
Right.
it's got something going for it.
No, like I said, I
yeah,
think I've just been spoiled with Stuart Little. Because
That-
Stuart Little was such a good kids movie, and this one's not bad. It's just pretty standard.
Right. Well, Stuart Little has like a message.
This
And,
this
is
felt
just kind of-
this felt more like a kids movie. Like this like I enjoyed it because I'm a man child.
Right.
Stuart Little, like it seems like that's a movie for all ages. I think anyone, no matter how old or young, can enjoy Stuart Little.
Yeah,
Right. And Stuart Little has like a message in it. It has a purpose.
Right? Yeah.
And Yogi Bear kind of has a message in it, but it's more of
Yeah,
just
it's
a slapstick comedy.
Yeah. It's mostly slapstick, and then like 1%. You should care about the environment.
yeah,
And 1% like, oh, maybe you shouldn't be selfish.
And the logging
Right.
thing, the reason I bring that up as a 90s is because that was a thing in a lot of 90s family movies. Was just like,
Right.
the governor is tearing down the forest and logging the forest. And so that was a very popular plot point, which makes me think like maybe they either revived that for this movie or they wrote this movie in the 90s. I don't know which. But anyway, so the governor, he's going to sell the park to this logging agency, and he tells Ranger Smith, he's like, hey, I'm going to sell this park to the logging agencies unless you can make this much money by, what was it, a week from now? Something like that? Like,
yeah,
you've
it was
got
like
a
a
week.
week or two.
You've got a week to make $10,000 or something. And it was way more money than that. And so they run the numbers of like how much money they can make to do it. And the math was all kinds of off in the movie. And I don't remember it because
Well,
my math was
the
also
math-
wrong.
The math was off
Right.
for both of us. They what was it, $50?
There's a lot of bad math.
We are three idiots, and we couldn't figure out the math, and then the movie also couldn't figure out the math. It was $50 for a year-long like subscription to be able to go camp there and everything. And they're like, oh, we could get 500 people easy. Oh no, we get 1,000 people.
Yeah, we're
DC.
like, we can get 1,000 people to come to this, and if even half of them sign up for this, we'll have enough money to.
Right. And we were
Not
debating whether
fall
that
apart.
meant they got 500 or 5,000, and it turns out the actual answer is 25,000.
Right, but it would have been even less though, because they were selling it at like
And it
it was like
$10 off or
10%
something.
off, or yeah, $10 off.
Yeah, and I said it would
Yeah.
be $25.
It would be not enough to.
No matter
save
what,
the
they
park.
needed 30,000, and they were not going to get 30,000.
Correct. That's
but
the point.
they hosted their parade, and it looked really fun. You know, it was all going well. They wanted
Josh, define parade.
Right.
Parade. They had a little festival, I should say.
They had a fireworks show.
Well, they had a fireworks show, and Agent Smith or whatever specifically said, "Yogi Bear, please stay away. I do not like you, and you're going to ruin this." So he tries to oblige, and then has a schizo moment and switches to a different personality that wants to get in on the festival.
Yeah, well,
he smelled donuts is what it was, and then it zoomed in on his eye, and he was in space eating a giant donut.
Yes, which is a scene that they
which
call back
I
to.
also remember from Yogi Bear 2.
Right, it's a scene they call back to in Yogi Bear 2.
I think in Yogi Bear 2, it's a giant pizza instead of a giant donut.
Well, and also at this point, the mayor has come up to, the lead singer from LMFAO and said, "Hey, I know you want to be the head ranger. If you want to be able to do that, I can make that happen for you. I just need to take control of the park. So what I need you to do is I need you to sabotage this big event." And his answer to doing that is to trick Yogi Bear 2 into thinking that Ranger Smith needs his help for this event. And so he tricks Yogi Bear 2 into thinking that that's going to happen. And so he develops this elaborate skiing routine, which they then call back to in Yogi Bear 2 as well. And it's this big elaborate scene with him, and he's doing water skis, and there's fire involved. Sadly, though, Ranger Smith has prepared fireworks, this big fireworks show. And Yogi Bear, in the middle of skiing, accidentally lights the fireworks and murders at least 3 or 4 people.
Well, First, he lights his little picnic bib cape on fire. Then they had a funny little they had a little bait and switch scene where his little baton that was on fire flew up in the air, and Ranger Tom Cavanagh caught it right like seconds before it hit the fireworks.
Right, save the day, and they take a big breath and they go, "Oh."
Optimistic music played. He's patting himself on the back. He looks cool in front of the girl, and then the little flaming cape comes floating in behind them and sets off all the fireworks.
Which I will say, very solid bait and switch. I believe.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it at first it's fine. You know, the fireworks are launching.
Right,
basically how they were meant to.
They're still having a good time.
Even though it was during the day and you probably wouldn't be able to see the fireworks all that well.
Yeah,
but the sun actually began to set during the...
okay. It was all planned out. I doubted Tom Cavanagh. I shouldn't have.
During the water skiing scene, the sun began to set, and so the firework time was like perfect time for fireworks, which is kind of cool.
Is that when the turtle tree gets highlighted?
Yes, that's when I noticed that there's a tree in the background of this scene that looks just like a turtle, which I guess was foreshadowing.
It was, yeah.
So
this, just for that, Oscar.
Yeah, greatest movie of all time. This is also when we began to notice. And I think finally realized that this movie was made during the era of 3D movies, like the mid to late 2000s 3D movie craze. Because as the fireworks go off, a couple of them fall over and begin to shoot into the crowd of people. Like they begin to just murder people with fireworks.
Correct.
And some of them shoot directly at the camera, and then there's a scene with some popcorn where it squirts directly at the camera.
I was a big fan of the popcorn exploding into TJ Miller's mouth. I like that scene.
That was fun.
Which makes a very fun game you could play with this movie, where you just point out every time, and we did, where you just point out every time that.
It was meant to be 3D.
It was meant to be 3D.
You were meant to be in the cinema going,
it's coming right at me. I thought that firework was gonna explode and kill us.
And just
that
for
popcorn was flying right in my face.
and just for that, Oscar, like easy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
What was the other one? It was the sparks. Like all the sparks start flying down towards the ground, and there's one really cracked shot of Yogi Bear where he's
in the water.
He pops his head out of the water, and then behind him there's a load of fire and sparks, and it looks super cool. And the CG on the Yogi Bear is pretty good for basically the entire movie. There's no point where it starts like
it never at all looks wonky.
No, the CG on the turtle, however, but we'll get to him.
We'll get to the turtle.
The CG on the maggot that Yogi Bear tried to do is pretty wonky, but
even Boo Boo's CG is
both the bear's CG was great.
Yeah, well, you want to make sure your main characters shine. Boo Boo also, and we kind of missed this scene earlier. We go and take a visit to Yogi Bear's cave right as Tom Cavanagh starts to figure out that his park is no longer making money.
This is when Yogi Bear says his racial slur.
No, that's after this. Actually,
no, that's later.
Yeah, that's later. We'll get there.
Oh, so no, so that sets up the racial slur. My bad.
So Yogi Bear has developed a new contraption called the basket grabber 2000 or whatever.
It didn't say grab it, I'll tell you that.
and so he's got that, and Ranger Smith finds it, and he tells him to cut out all the shenanigans and whatever. And Boo Boo is revealed to have a pet turtle here, which is kind of cool. You know, give him a little pet, whatever. You don't think anything of it. And then we jump forward, and we're back at the the big, as Josh would say, parade.
The big parade. Yeah.
The big parade. And Tom Cavanagh kind of loses it on Yogi Bear because this was his last chance to save the park. So rightfully so. Like he's deserving to be upset. And he just kind of snaps on him and he says, "Hey, look, you're not smarter than the average bear. In fact, you're dumber than the average bear. You just know how to talk. So go back to the woods where you belong, you stupid bear." It's like he was kind of cruel to him.
Yeah, a little bit.
He says, like, maybe you're not as smarter than the average bear. Maybe you're just, an average bear. You're kind of dumb.
Yeah, that's what he says. That's verbatim. That's from the movie.
And then Yogi Bear gets sad, and the park ranger gets sad because he gets fired. Well, no, he doesn't get fired. He gets transferred to Evergreen Park.
Right, which is just a patch of grass.
It's a patch of dirt in the middle of the street.
It's a median is basically all it is.
Yeah. And in doing so, TJ Miller gets head ranger, meaning he can drive the armadillo, which is basically the only thing
he can get head.
He can drive the armadillo, the little SUV. That's basically the entire reason he wanted.
It's also just not an SUV.
The what, Josh? What?
It's an SUV.
It's an SUV.
Josh, define SUV.
What's the one I'm looking for? I guess it's technically an ATV. ATV, that's the one. It had a V in there. I'm close enough.
Yeah.
Josh, what does ATV stand for?
All-terrain vehicle.
Okay, what does SUV stand for?
All-terrain vehicle.
Where's the T?
It's silent.
Okay.
Wow.
It's terrain with a U instead of an E.
I figured it would just be the U would just be the U in Saul.
Josh,
it's a Saul universal vehicle.
Genuinely, what does SUV stand for?
I don't know. I don't drive.
It is a sport utility vehicle.
Oh, no. The Saul Goodman vehicle. My bad.
No, that would.
This is the moment the park ranger became Saul Goodman.
Is what that would be.
But yeah, anyways, he has access to the armadillo, which is the ATV, not the SUV. And the first thing he does is he takes out the speed control thing so that he can drive it all fast and recklessly through the parks. And we got a scene straight out of one of the Star Wars movie on the forest place.
Forest movie Indoor from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Teddy bears.
Yeah.
Yogi Bear reference, perhaps?
Maybe.
Well, I mean, they do call back to that in Yogi Bear 3.
They call back to Return of the Jedi?
They go to the
call
real
back
fourth moon of Endor.
they call back to it in Yogi Bear 3, where it's actually kind of a flashback to Yogi Bear 2 that's simultaneously referencing it.
And at this
Yeah,
point,
what was that?
At this point, you know,
That's
Tom
when he rides
Cavanagh.
the SUV.
Tom Cavanagh, he's at his park in the median of the street.
Right.
And Boo Boo, Yogi Bear, he gives up his life of stealing picnic baskets and he tries to become a normal
this
bear.
is when he says a racial slur.
Yes. And so he lays on the ground and Yogi Bear says a racial slur that I won't repeat. And yeah, so that's a whole thing. Yogi Bear says a racial
if you
slur.
want to see what racial slur he says, you can go watch the movie.
True.
I guarantee you. If you look up Yogi Bear says the N word on YouTube, it'll pop up. I guarantee it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Yogi Bear says the N word, and Boo Boo then notices that several of the trees in this movie are being cut down.
He then notices the white cloak and white hood that Yogi Bear has in his cave.
Right.
Which is actually a callback to earlier in the movie. Not the racial slur, but the big yellow X's on the trees are a callback to earlier in the movie when Yogi Bear paints a big yellow bullseye on a tree. You thought I didn't notice that, but I did. That's the thing I noticed.
I did notice that. I was thinking, did they paint yellow X's on there? Because there's one of their schemes is basically just they
install from like a little slingshot seesaw mechanism
sort of thing.
catapult on the picnic table,
and it throws it against a tree where they've marked like a point so that they know where to catch it from.
Right. That's when the pie hit Yogi Bear in the face.
Correct. Yogi Bear got pied.
It showed the trees getting
pied.
Well, you know, he was just sucking down a good cream pie. They show like the yellow X's on trees getting cut down. I didn't know if that was because I was like, didn't they draw the yellow X's? So I thought it was just a reference to them accidentally getting trees knocked down, or I didn't really get what that was a throwback to or callback to rather.
Well, it was him painting the big yellow bullseye on the tree.
Right.
It didn't pay off in any way.
No.
But it was
okay.
It was
so
a reference to the movie itself.
It was just a thing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So Boo Boo notices that they're cutting all the trees down, and he goes to get Yogi, who's eating a worm. He eated a bee.
A grub. A grub is the one.
It was a maggot.
It was a grub.
No, he eated a bee.
Witchetty grub. That's the name of the thing.
Yeah.
He eated a bee.
Yeah, you know. He eated the pizza.
He looks like he eated a bees.
he eated a bee. And so after that, Yogi Bear finally agrees to help out in saving the park. So they decide they're going to go and they're going to find Ranger Smith so that he can help them out because they're not smart enough to do it on their own. So they go and they find him in his little median park and they say, hey, they're cutting the trees down.
Yeah, his park is mid.
Yeah, it's a mid-Ian park. And so Ranger Smith says, yeah, why not? I can help you out with that.
I'm not particularly busy helping out on this patch of dirt in the middle of the street.
I can just quit my job for the day to go do something illegal.
Also a great line. He comments that all the trees there are plastic. All the plants are plastic. And snarky, equally evil henchman says, no, they're not plastic. They've just been covered in a plastic-like coat
from all the pollution.
Or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun line.
Big fan of that line. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
The two of them are quite fun in general. Like they're nice. They're not.
Yeah, they were very fun. Evil villains.
Like, yeah, they're your kind of typical cartoon villain of the week people.
Right. Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, they're great cartoon villains, which is nice.
Yeah. There's no like deeper meaning to them. They don't have like
on a cartoon.
There's no backstory where the mayor was
simply man who wants power and man who wants to ride off of his power. Yeah.
Correct. And so they all go back to Jellystone to try and save the park, but they realize they can't get in because the park has been closed.
It's been closed for the mayor's press conference for where he announces he is running for governor.
Yeah, not only is he going to announce that he's running for governor, he's also going to announce that they're selling the park to make money for the citizens. it comes as a surprise to the people in the movie, but it's not a surprise to us because
it's literally the first thing they tell us about these characters.
Correct.
Right.
Which
we want to sell the park for money.
Which is a bit of a miss. Like they could have kept that a secret from us as well as the characters, which would have been nice, but I'm not complaining too much.
Right, that would have been fun. Like Ranger Dude is just looking over the financials, and he finds out that the park's not been profitable for years and years and years, and then at the same time he happens to get a visit from the mayor, and
Right.
it comes across as the mayor just trying to shut down the park for not being profitable, and then at the end it turns out he wants to sell it off and
evil man
stuff. Yeah,
Right. Or like they could have set up that he was trying to sell it for agriculture, like sell it to be used for whatever,
like
make a new park out of it.
Thing.
Right, but instead he's selling it to the logging company. They could have done something with that, but I'm not I said, not complaining.
It's a
too
Yogi
much.
Bear movie. It's
Right.
not exactly. This isn't high art.
It's Yogi Bear 2, So they get there, and the lady who was filming the documentary of Yogi and Boo Boo are there, and she says she's looking over the film of Boo Boo, and she sees the pet turtle from earlier in the movie, which I'm going to be honest. When I saw that turtle earlier, I was like, oh, that's a goofy looking turtle. I did not expect it to be a setup for the ending of this movie.
Not at all. And I've seen this movie.
Yeah, I have too. And I've seen the sequel. Like, I've seen both.
Right.
I've seen the trilogy and I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I've seen the whole saga. There are 9 movies in the Yogi Bear saga.
I remember when Yogi Bear premiered in 1972.
Wow.
Is that what year it
Is that
premiered?
actually when it premiered?
I have no clue when Yogi Bear. I feel like Yogi Bear is just one of the constants of the universe. It existed with the Big Bang.
Josh, this movie didn't come out until 2010. What do you mean 1972? You think they had CGI like this in 72?
I watched the prequels.
Okay.
Maybe that's why you didn't understand the movie. You didn't watch the prequels and you didn't read the 2 books that
you
were
didn't read
released
the tie-in comics.
The tie-in comics. You should have watched the web series. That's what you really missed out.
That's really what fills in the gaps.
Yeah, you're right. My bad. So the lady's like, "Hey, this turtle is a endangered frog-mouthed turtle or whatever that's presumed to be extinct."
Raphus. That's something about that.
Raphael, the Ninja Turtle.
Right, Raphael, the Ninja Turtle, who has been extinct for it's not endangered. It's been extinct for 100 years, and so they can't cut down the trees in they can't close the park with an endangered species living there. I think, which you would think that I
feel like
2 talking bears would be enough.
Right. Well, you think 2 talking bears would be enough to attract people to the park in the first place?
Well, but they're not allowed to steal the picnic baskets.
You got me there.
Yeah. So they go on this search for the turtle. And right at the same time, this lady who is just dumb decides to tell the mayor about the turtle, which that was a dumb move on her part. I'm going to be honest. You should have kept it a secret. So she decides to tell the mayor about the turtle. So the mayor's looking for the turtle, and
she didn't know how evil he was. She figured he would respect the law or whatever.
I guess that's true, but he doesn't. So she should have known better. Never let him know your next move, Daniel.
That is fact.
Well, let him know their next move is what saved the park.
Is it though?
Yeah, because by saying, you can't do this for the turtle, he goes on that big rant about wanting power and not caring about the turtle and probably just going to kill it and everything, which ends up being how they expose him.
Yeah.
I guess that's true. You just spoiled the end of the movie. We're not at that point in the plot breakdown yet.
Sorry, spoilers for Yogi Bear. Yogi Bear doesn't die at the end.
Spoilers for Yogi Bear too.
Right.
We're not spoiling Yogi Bear 2, yeah? That's got quite a big twist in it.
Yeah, you're right.
The twist where Yogi Bear...
The twist where Yogi Bear turns out to be Dan Aykroyd in a suit the entire time.
Oh, we didn't talk about the great joke at the beginning where the lady says, "I want to shoot you," and then Yogi Bear runs away. That's a great little joke. So the turtle is collected in a picnic basket by the lead singer from LMFAO. And he has this turtle in a picnic basket, and Yogi Bear's like, Hey, Ranger Smith, I know the
says,
exact
"Hey,
thing
boo-boo."
that I know the exact thing that can save this. It's my picnic nabber grab 5000 or whatever. So he goes and he grabs the little flying machine that he built earlier in the movie, which also pays off. And he flies down. Him and Boo Boo fly down in this airplane that this bear built. Oh, I cannot stress enough. A bear built an airplane.
Yeah. Or an aeroplane, as some people say.
Right, some people do say that. So they fly down and they pick up the turtle.
It's me, I'm people.
And they're able to escape. Which is kind of crazy, like that they escape. What's crazier is the plane then malfunctions, and Yogi Bear has installed a raft into this plane, and he deploys the raft, right? And then they land in the river, okay, with the turtle in hand.
It was an Indiana Jones reference.
Yeah, they land in the river with the raft, and then Tom Cavanagh and Tom Cavanagh's girlfriend are there, even though they were on the other side of the park because Yogi Bear and Boo Boo flew a plane.
No, it showed them driving in the armadillo. He was looking through the binoculars, following them.
It played out. It was set up.
Yeah, but why couldn't they just drive? Why couldn't they just drive to the picnic basket in the first place?
Because there were all the cars, all the evil black SUVs were there.
And also, I assume that to some degree they didn't know where it was.
Right.
Well, no, they did know where it was because he looks down at the rapids and he says, "We can't cross the river," and they just are automatically on the other side of the river.
No, because I remember
they were on the side that they were always on. They weren't on the picnic basket side.
Then how did Yogi Bear and Boo Boo get to the picnic basket side?
Also, they said
they flew.
They were flying, Dalton.
And their plane their aeroplane that they built, that the bear built.
And also
they had an aeroplane.
They had to be in the aeroplane because that's how they were going to steal the basket. They devised it for that purpose.
Yes,
this movie is too smart for 3 grown men.
This is the second time this movie has duped us.
The first time was with all its 3D. I really thought I was just in this universe.
Right.
Okay. So
So Tom Cavanagh gets a big stick to try and pull Yogi and Boo Boo and the frog-faced turtle onto the land. Instead, Yogi Bear pulls Tom Cavanagh and his girlfriend into the boat. Then we get a fun them going down Whitewater Rapids scene, where Yogi Bear has a seatbelt that he just has duct taped to the raft, and as soon as he puts it on, they hit a big bump and he goes flying in the air, and I liked that.
I liked it too, Daniel.
And then after the rapids, then they're like, oh no, now that we're past the rapids, it means we must be approaching the Jellystone Falls.
Yeah, which is something we called. We called there would be a waterfall.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, well, you specifically called it being a thing. Like they were gonna hit a waterfall and then they hit the rapids.
Right.
And then
they really faked us out. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. They said they were gonna hit the rapids, and we all said, oh, that's gonna be it then. You know, that's their makeshift waterfall.
And then they're like, oh, they're hitting the waterfall, and we're like, oh, so they are going down the waterfall.
They broke her ankles, and
they broke her ankles twice because then they didn't go down the waterfall. They got caught on a magically perfectly placed giant stick.
Yeah, no, they broke our ankles for real with that one. With the giant stick got me because I was like, man. They really know how to subvert expectations.
Like every time in these movies, they go down the waterfall, and it's such a big deal that they're falling down the waterfall, but then they survive and they're perfectly fine. And then they didn't go down the waterfall, but they did survive and were perfectly fine. So,
but they didn't survive by going down the waterfall. They survived by landing on the branch.
Right.
So
they survived by not going down the waterfall, which was nice.
They have saved the turtle. They've saved the day with the turtle in hand. And they go to the mayor and they're like, hey, look at this title we got. It looks like a giant title in a trench coat.
It looks like a frog.
And he says...
It has the tongue. I don't think we've mentioned that. We've called it a frog-faced turtle, but it also has the tongue of a frog.
Right.
And it sticks it out and it uses it like a Spider-Man thing. It's very fun.
That's called out during the raft scene because Yogi Bear looks at it and goes, I don't really get why they call it a frog-faced turtle. Right. And then it licks him.
Well, yeah, it licks him. It has another
just lick him,
another
Josh.
cracked 3D scene where it wraps its tongue around Yogi Bear's face and
and it
spins
flies
around in
out.
a circle, and it flies right into the
And
camera.
even in a non-3D setting, it's a kind of tough shot.
It was very hard.
As is most of this movie.
Right.
So they get the frog turtle, and it's safe. And they take it to the mayor, and they're like, "Hey, look, we found this turtle. You can't close down this park." And he goes on this big rampage about how he can do whatever he wants because he is the mayor, soon to be governor. I can just do whatever he wants. And so he tries to kill the turtle.
He says, "I don't care about the environment. I only care about power."
Right. And so his assistant gets the turtle and tries to take it away. He's planning on killing it. I don't know why they don't just like step on it or something.
Right. Yeah. They had a whole like hot potato thing with the turtle where they were playing keep away, and then Yogi Bear throws it to the mayor's assistant. And if I were the mayor's assistant, I would have just killed that turtle right
Just
there.
spike it, you know?
Yeah. Like just give it a good punt. Like what?
Just
man.
throw it in front of the car that you are currently driving.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can't kill it there, right? Like, I guess you gotta.
This has turned from the semi-pro podcast into how to murder a turtle.
Right.
Right.
It's always been that.
Yeah.
So the turtle escapes, right? So the turtle escapes
Yeah,
from
it
the
uses
assistant.
its tongue to thwip onto a tree and pull itself out the window.
He sticked to a tree.
Correct.
And then what happens after that?
So after that,
The heroes accept their defeat.
Correct. So our good guys, they accept their defeat, but then they realize that Boo Boo's camera has been recording the whole time, and so they have footage of the mayor saying all the mean things he says about the environment and government, and that he doesn't care about turtles, whatever. So during his big speech, they plug in the camera that's on Boo Boo's neck into the screen that's playing behind.
Such a great cutoff to that too. Like he was in the video that he had prepared. He was like he was like, "Here's what I think of the environment," and then it cuts to static, and then the footage of him saying what he really thinks about the environment. It was great. I love that whole
sucks.
Right.
I think Coolsville. Right.
We should watch Scooby-Doo. I just want to watch Scooby-Doo now.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Did I call this movie Scooby-Doo earlier?
I don't think so. I don't know.
It's possible. You may have called it Garfield. I don't know.
Maybe. Who knows? What does it matter?
We called this movie a lot of stuff, if we're being honest.
What does it matter, you know? What's real anymore?
Real?
So, our good guys, they wind up saving the day. The park is open. It goes back to Tom Cavanagh, and you know, the park starts making money again because the turtle's there and people want to see this turtle for whatever reason. Still nobody wants to see the talking bear, which is just insane to me.
Yeah.
Especially now that there's a whole documentary out about him. Like, why does nobody want to see this talking bear? But yeah, so that's kind of the end of the movie. Roll credits. There's no funky little credits blooper scene. There is an after credit scene specifically setting up Yogi Bear 2.
That is true, yeah.
But that's it.
He meets another Yogi Bear and he goes, "Oh my goodness, you're Yogi Bear too." And then it does the new Marvel thing where they say Yogi Bear will return and Yogi Bear 2.
Right, and then he says another racial slur.
Right. Well, that's the second post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Right. Where instead of being a brown bear, this is a black bear that happens to also speak.
You may have taken it too far. You may have gone too far with this one.
I'm just saying. I'm just trying to tell you what
he's just explaining the scene. He didn't make this.
I didn't make this movie.
He's just saying what we watched.
I didn't say. Nor am I ever going to repeat what Yogi Bear said earlier in the movie.
Right, and then said again at the end of the movie.
And then said again. But yeah, Yogi Bear 2 is a great movie, and you should all watch it.
True.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know that this is a movie that I would recommend. Like Stuart Little, I would recommend to anybody.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because that movie is just good. This is a fun kids movie, but if you're not super into kids movies, I don't know that you're gonna find any enjoyment out of it.
Right.
It's kind of stupid. For us. It's good because it's one of the better movies we've watched on the podcast, and it was kind of fun to watch with friends. But this movie does suck. Like, it should be clarified that, like, yes, we had fun with this movie, but this movie sucks.
So you're giving this the worst movie ever?
No, I'm still giving this best movie ever because it's one of the best movies we've watched on this Forsaken podcast. But it's still like it's not a very good movie. The CGI is solid, but the story kind of falls apart, and
it's very bare bones. It feels kind of like
aren't great.
Bare bones, I get it, because it's a movie about bears.
The characters aren't great. The voice acting is very solid from Dan Aykroyd and Justin Timberlake, but there's nothing to take away from this movie. Like, it's not a particularly entertaining movie.
Stuart Little.
Correct. For a kids movie, it's fine, but from like the perspective of a grown person watching it, it's just not very good. It's what it needs to be. It accomplishes.
It's mid, but I like it.
From the perspective of a grown man watching Yogi Bear, it's not very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's. There's nothing that this movie could have been to be better, right? Like, because that's another thing that makes these movies we watch on this podcast frustrating. It's like this movie is not frustrating. It's not frustratingly
not
bad.
at all.
It's just not very good. Like there's nothing better you could have done with Yogi Bear except for whatever happens in Yogi Bear 2. I don't know. I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
Right.
There's nothing you could have done to make this movie any better than it is. It's just not a very good premise for a movie to begin with.
Right.
I think it was a perfectly fine film.
Like I said,
Daniel, there was no giant praying mantis.
that is true. It was okay. Almost perfect film.
there was no giant praying mantis. Worst movie of all time. And like I say, it's a very bare bones movie. Yogi Bear is such a simple concept. You kind of can't do more with it. Like, it's the best Yogi Bear movie outside of Yogi Bear 2 that you could possibly make.
Correct.
But I don't know. I maybe it's just the Shyamalan in me that's making me glad I'm watching movies that are under 2 hours.
I still have that Shyamalan after goggles.
Right.
After Earth goggles?
I don't get it.
It's tough to decipher, but like, it's not a fantastic movie by any stretch. It's not a work of art, but it's entertaining enough that an hour and a half had passed, and I didn't really feel like an hour and a half had passed.
True.
Yeah.
I
think
I'm
a
gonna
big
give it
part of
worst
that
movie
is
ever though, because because I can.
Yeah, you can.
I do think part of the fun of this was us watching it together.
Right. Well, that's part of the fun with most of these movies is like you kind of have to ask
Josh,
yourself,
I haven't had fun in months other than Stuart Little and Daddy's Home 2.
Yeah, but no, but in the aspect of would I sit down and watch this movie by myself? No, I would not.
I think the only of the movies we've watched, the only ones I would sit down and watch by myself would be Stuart Little and maybe Daddy's Home 2, but even that, I don't know that I would enjoy as much alone.
I'd watch Daddy's Home 2, but I watch it in the background.
This movie, I just don't see. I don't see myself ever watching again. Number one,
right?
And I enjoyed the experience of watching it with you guys. I don't know that I enjoyed the movie itself. Does that make more sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I also enjoyed the movie regardless of you guys. I just enjoyed it more because I was watching it with my friends.
I do think I would love a Boo Boo spinoff because Boo Boo's easily the best character in this. He's the only character in this whole movie.
I can't wait for Kevin Feige to announce the Boo Boo spinoff, the
Boo Boo
Agent
cinematic
spin-off.
universe.
I will
the
say,
May of Revenge movie.
And Dan, you can get to your final thoughts in a moment. I do feel like the movies in this sweep are getting progressively worse. Like this is a huge step down from Stuart Little And then I
think Garfield next week will be a step up from this.
I
You think
worry that
Garfield
while,
2?
but I remember really enjoying it.
Maybe the first Garfield would be a step up from this. I
No,
don't
see,
know that.
I remember enjoying the second Garfield more than the first one.
See, I think the
watched it.
second Garfield is going to be crazier in that,
Yeah,
like,
I think it's going to be much more wacky.
This was about
where-
a talking bear saving a national park.
Yeah,
but Garfield 2 is about
it's about a
cat
tale of two
switching
kitties.
place with another cat.
Yeah, I guess you're right. All right, Daniel, final thoughts on Yogi Bear 2.
Hey, boo boo.
I know what that means. I'll get you, Daniel.
All right, Dan,
Yeah,
best movie ever, worst movie ever?
Best movie ever,
Okay.
easily.
Cool.
I'm just looking forward to Space Shims.
Yeah, that's me. It's like a month away, man.
Yeah,
if
I know,
we even
but
do
I'm
that
just,
next. I'm kind of thinking
I'm,
we
I'm,
do
I'm
Space
so
Jam next.
excited. I'm so excited for the eventual point we watch Space Shims in, because it's
Yeah.
this movie reminded me of a crack house film in a couple of ways.
You
and it just
remind
kinda-
me of crack.
And so
Crack House.
it just made me think. I like a good crack house movie, and
I
I
like
can't wait to watch
crack.
All right, boys. That's been it for Yogi Bear 2. Hope you guys listening enjoyed it. We had fun watching the movie. We got 2 best movies ever and 1 worst movie ever, although I did say that I would not suggest watching this, and both of them did say that they would suggest watching it.
I really liked the part where Yogi Bear said, "Hey, boo boo."
I
And
really
then
liked
the giant
the
praying
part.
mantis ate him.
I really liked the part where he said a racial slur.
Yeah, I didn't like that part.
It made me feel icky.
I'm not getting canceled and sent to Twitter jail with the rest of you guys.
With Dan
I do
Aykroyd.
like how they set up Yogi Bear 2's
Yeah. What did it set up for Yogi Bear 2? What?
the SUV subplot.
All right.
The
That's it.
SUV parade subplot.
All right. That's it. We're getting out of here.
I hate
Thank
this
you for
movie and this
listening.
podcast.
Thank you for listening. If you are listening on YouTube, leave a like, maybe subscribe, whatever the YouTube things are. If you're listening on Spotify,
Comment, hey, boo boo.
if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, leave a rate and a review there. It helps to push this podcast out to other people. Next week, we will be watching Garfield 2, A Tale of Two Kitties. So thank you for joining us, and please come back next week so that we can watch Garfield.
They made a second one?
They did. They made 2
is
kitties.
wild.
A Tale of Two Kitties. All right, everybody. Thank you. And we'll see you on the very next episode of Semi Pro.
Yeah. Good show.